we are live at the Center for Performing Arts, and we have a little change of location. We're sitting here in our lovely concession stand, which is located in one corner of our massive lobby. This is the concession stand. We're here because we have a show that has a Marley floor on. That's a floor especially for dancing, and I didn't want to mess it up, so I thought this would be cool. And you see all these lovely signs: please, no refreshments in the theater, thank you. Stage Right Cafe. We stop serving 5 minutes before the start of each act. All very necessary information. And sitting with me
I
here,
just wanted the wine and beer.
the wine and beer, $6 and $4. Right. And sitting with me for this special April show is the Director of Education, Babette Fasolino.
Hello.
That's Babette Fasolino. And sitting to Babette's right is Prince Kevin Marchambeau. You've met him on many shows. He's the Director of Public Relations here at the Center. And what we're going to talk about today, and I promise not to interrupt you, is education at the Center, which is a real big thing. So what's going on?
Well, right now, Lisa, I'm pointing to her because she's over here watching us tape. She's in the middle of directing a Midsummer Night's Dream for the Shakespeare Festival, which is going to be awesome.
When is that on?
I don't.
April 6th.
Gee, when do you open?
April 6th.
Soonish.
Huh?
Soonish.
Soonish, well that didn't help me. April, right?
Yeah,
It's on the
I
back.
think it's
April 6th, and March 22nd and 29th is the Tempest, but you've already known about that from last month's show. So Kids on Stage, April 5th and 12th. 5th and 12th, 2 Saturdays in a row. So that's coming up.
And then Kevin will be directing Teen Musical Theater in the spring, and he will be, you're doing famous movies?
Yeah, movie musicals.
Movie musicals.
Like which ones?
Well, you know, like Singing in the Rain.
Oh, big one.
Exactly, big MGM classics.
Moulin Rouge, Moulin Rouge.
Maybe if we go a little bit more modern. I was thinking a little bit more old school, but I might go with
So TMT, Teen Musical
So he's
Theater.
the last spring workshop, and then we jump into summer camp, which is going to be crazy.
Humongous this year.
Very big this year. We added afternoon sessions, so and it's kind of a modular idea where kids can come in the morning, they can come in the afternoon, they can come both morning and afternoon and hang out here for their lunch break. And we also added more sessions for teens and adults.
I'll go back. They could be here from like 9 to 1.
Right,
And then take lunch from 1 to 2.
right,
And then do another class from 2 to 5.
correct.
So that's the whole day.
The whole day, if they wanted to spend the whole day.
So mom and
with us.
dad, if you want to get rid of your kids during the summer, this is what you said. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a great place. It's a lot of fun during the summer. It's air conditioned. We're all of our instructors are professionals in their field. So, and you're teaching camp this summer. You're
1 camp.
2 camps.
2 camps. 2 camps.
That's why she's in charge of
That's
that.
right. What camps am I teaching? by
You
the way?
are doing 2 dramatic literature camps.
Oh my goodness, has anybody signed up?
Yes, they are.
Really?
And so we're pretty excited about that. You are doing. Let me look at my cheat sheet notes here.
What am I doing?
July
Dramatic literature 1 is
July
Oedipus Rex, Hamlet, and the Cherry Orchard.
Wow.
And then dramatic literature 2 is American theater history and literature, Long Day's Journey into Night, Streetcar Named Desire, and Death of a Salesman.
Wow. And they were all written by Neil Simon. All of them. Rex, Cherry Orchard, right?
Perhaps we should get a different
Yeah,
instructor.
get it this instructor.
So the interesting thing with dramatic literature is it's open to high school students and adults.
Anybody.
So there's a broad range of people.
Anybody.
We have a lot of high school students registering and adults who have time during.
But that's
the morning.
probably the driest course in the entire summer. I mean, that's
It
like,
is.
there's no movement. People are going to sit in their chair and they're just going to read aloud. And, you know,
What a
maybe-
way to sell it.
I know. You know, we're going to get up every once in a while. We're going to run around the building. And then you
There
come back
are
and you read.
many. We're
But
finding
most
that
of
there are
these-
many people interested in this,
Absolutely.
believe it or not.
But most of these classes are very active and
Oh.
interesting.
Well, we have Lisa is going to be directing Guys and Dolls Jr. Diana DeGrande is going to be directing Peter Pan Jr. Those are our
Nice, nice.
3-week sessions. Those are great
And
choices.
those end in performances.
Those end in public performances.
Right.
And then Kevin will be directing 2 sessions of The Magic of Disney, which
The
is,
little ones.
we started last summer and it was adorable, so we're bringing that
Very
back.
popular. Very popular.
And we have Emily, who's going to be directing our intermediate group, and they will be working on a special adaptation of Snow White. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. And some, depending on how Emily feels, it could be a musical or a non-musical.
The role of Dopey is taken.
He's my favorite dwarf, by the way.
He's everyone's favorite.
My favorite dwarf.
Absolutely.
And so what we have some technical things too, don't we?
Well, what I wanted to touch on is some of our new afternoon sessions, because we're bringing back some camps later in the day, such as stage combat, technical theater, and then we have some brand new camps, the Joy of Music, which incorporates music theory and basic piano instruction. We have a new puppetry workshop, which is going to be a lot of fun, where the kids will design their own puppets and have a puppet show at the end of the week. I'm really looking forward to that.
Hair and makeup.
Hair and makeup, dance for theater, auditioning, stage managing.
Oh, stage managing, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So there's there's offerings for every age group this
You
summer.
have like about
so,
15 camps there.
yes, so all of us here will be sleeping here.
Incredibly
this
busy.
summer.
So-
It's my cot.
I'm teaching one, and you're teaching one, aren't you? Are you
Little
teaching-
kids on
little
stage.
kids?
That's coming back in the morning.
And Kevin is teaching, and Emily is teaching. Lisa, Diana, is your daughter, Allison, she back?
I'm not 100% sure.
We're not 100% sure. Is Shannon going to be back?
Shannon will be teaching voice with Lynn Chaika, who's
Uh-huh.
they've both been here for
Yeah,
years.
forever and ever.
Risa Patrone is teaching dance for theater.
That's great.
And who's doing hair?
Kevin, Rachel
Rachel
White.
Rachel, she's definitely doing this.
Well, it depends on her schedule.
Schedule
Sometimes
at work,
it's still early in the
Yep,
season,
yep.
so sometimes they get other commitments. Kevin is teaching auditioning for theater.
Dwayne Olson is doing the
Dwayne
puppetry.
Olson is
Dave.
doing the puppetry workshop.
And Dave is doing the tech. Dave
Dave
he's
is
our
doing the
technical
tech.
director.
The
Joanne
interesting
Schubert.
thing about the tech camp is there's no fee for that. That's the only camp that we offer that is free,
And
but
why
it
do you do
does,
that?
there's a practicum involved. So the campers commit to working on a show during the year, and they actually love that part of it.
And they actually stay for more than one show, even though we say you only
Yes.
have to do one. We then find out that they're here for their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth, their sixth, forever and ever and ever. The Lococos.
Oh my goodness,
He's been here
Yeah.
forever.
And that's open for high school students to adults.
All right. Now, are you booked? How are we doing?
We are really busy.
It's really picking up so
So
early, which is
I
great.
definitely
We're
encourage
shooting
people
this on
to,
March the 14th.
I encourage
already.
them to reserve early. The
Yeah.
other interesting thing is that, and I think it's part of why we're getting so many early reservations, is we switched to an online registration format, so they don't have to call during office hours. You can go to centerforperformingarts.org and register anytime.
And
The other,
sorry.
the other great thing too is if you weren't here with us last year, we have this wonderful outdoor area now
Right.
for picnicking for the
Right.
lunch. You know,
Right.
we call it the pines, but it's underneath our grove of pine trees. that we
There are
have.
pine trees.
There are
Hence
pine
the
trees.
pines.
Hence the
Yes.
pines, exactly.
If it were
Well
mysterious,
named.
we'd call it the mysterious. But no, it's the pine. And we segregate the kids in terms of peanut allergies. They got a table of their own. We're very careful about
We
that.
are
very careful
We're very
about that.
careful. We're careful about all the medical issues anybody might have. It's a safe environment. It's a fun environment. And you better hurry up if you wanna join. I mean, this will be gone by what, June 1st? You won't be able to get in.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We do have our lovely summer camp brochure hot off the press, so you can call me at area code 845-876-3080, and I'll be happy to pop one in the mail, or you can go directly to our website.
And approximately, what do these things cost? Are they outrageous?
No, that's so
No, they're
nice.
very reasonable. Well, they're very competitively priced.
Yeah.
They start at $125
$125
for 1 week,
How many hours?
half day, and then
15 hours?
about
Yeah.
15.
15
And
hours.
then
That's pretty cheap.
the 3-week programs are $580, but that's for 3 weeks of camp. So
Plus two
it's less than
shows.
$200 a week, so that really is, I think it's a bargain. It's
No, if you go and look at what other people are doing, we're actually a little under some of the prices, and we do offer assistance. But if
We
you have
do.
a family of, like, so you're saying, you're sending 4 of your kids here, what do you do?
Absolutely.
Give you a break?
The first, if, for anyone with siblings, the first child is full price, any additional sibling is 20% off, so there's really a lot of savings there.
Wow, loves it.
And one thing that's really unique about our program is that we don't turn away anyone based on an inability to pay their full tuition. So if anyone
We make
would
it
like
happen.
to come and they're a little tight for money, who isn't these days, just give me a call and I can help you out with that.
Yeah. So the number again, 845-876-3080, any particular time of day, so I can make sure I talk to you.
Best time is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
9 to 3, school hours. And camp actually commences on July the 7th? July
is the first
7th.
week.
Right
So
after
we're not,
the 4th of
Oh, we
July.
start
not
after
gonna-
4th of July.
right, we're not gonna try to compete with that, and we end August what? What is the last camp?
It's late this year,
8th, 27, 28?
29.
29. So July 7th through August 29th, that's like 7 weeks. 8 weeks. It's 8
Nonstop.
weeks. We have 8 weeks nonstop camp. 9 to 5, basically. The building's going to be jumping.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all that, we're going to be attempting to do Les Mis, directed by Kevin. She Loves Me, directed by Tracy Carney. Noise is Off, directed by Diana DeBrandi. And plus Saturday morning children's shows you have going on. There are no field trips during the summer though, correct?
No
Because
field
school
trips.
is out, right? But the building is going to be used, the stage, the studio, the classroom, the shop, dressing rooms for hair
Lawn.
and makeup,
Exactly.
the lawn,
Pines.
the whole building is going to be used for education. So this is a really big deal. You know, we are constituted as an arts and education institute. People kind of forget that. They think that all we do is facile musicals. That's not true. A lot of what we do is like real drama. But a lot of what we do, maybe upwards of 40%, or a lot of our initiative, is all about field trips, Saturday morning family shows, and education all year round. And it's not education just for young people. We're in March. We just finished. Is the adult acting class over?
It's halfway through.
After one more week?
Actually, I'm meaning to ask you about that. I think they want to hang out for a couple more weeks.
I don't
So
care.
I said, why not?
Why not?
They're really having a great time.
Great.
And, yeah.
Great.
So
Next
we're
talk on
gonna-
Barbara Mills.
Right,
Yeah.
so we're extending that a couple
And do
weeks.
we have any other workshops happening at the moment?
No, the 3. Lisa's and
Well,
then
Kids on Stage
Barbara's
is
and then
in
Kevin's.
rehearsal right now.
Right.
And
Right.
Lisa and Emily both are working on that, and that's been some extreme. And then your
Mine
TNT,
picks up mid-April.
mid-April.
So there's still time to register for the
Yeah.
spring
Right.
session.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kevin's classes go really fast. You have a cap?
22.
That's your cap.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why 22? What's that number?
It was a random number that I chose.
You chose it.
I just-
It has nothing to do with some
No,
significance?
no.
The Fibonacci curve
Oh,
starts.
oh, the Heisenberg principle.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right, great. So, education, anything else you want to say? What's the number again? 845?
876-3080.
You're going to talk to Babette, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Please be with us. These are going to be gone, so you have to register now. You can go online. How do you go online and do this?
Go straight to our website at www.centerforperformingarts.org and click on the education link.
And thanks. We'll be back. And we're back, and this is Live at the Center, and obviously we do lots of things here. We just talked about education, but we have 2 big shows coming up. Before I talk about these shows, you're probably wondering what this is. There's this box, and it's got all sorts of stuff in it. Now, this is something, this box, this wonderful woman who lives in the community dropped this box by a little while ago. You know, we're always on the lookout for properties and things, and she gave us a whole bunch of military uniforms, some of which actually look very decent. This looks like a World War II. Oh my goodness, this is an aviator pancake cap. How cool is this? This is at least from 1941. That's really great. So if you have stuff and it's in reasonably good condition, don't think that, you know, we're like the recycling center. Oh, I can get rid of my old spandex. No, we don't want that. But if you have like a military hat, look at this. This is a real like helmet liner from World War II. And as I said, this is a real cap. Actually, it's an enlisted man's cap. But this is like from 1941 or so. So if you have stuff, just drop it by. It's one of the things that you can do to help us out. If you don't want to give us money, you can give us stuff. If you don't want to be on stage, you can give us money. If you don't want to be on stage or give us money or give us stuff, you can come and see a show, right? So,
yes.
all over the map there. Lots of things you can do. So here we are. We're talking to Lisa Linz and Comedy of Errors, which is the second part of the Sanskrit Shakespeare Festival, the 8th annual Sanskrit Shakespeare Festival, being directed by you.
Myself.
Yes, and it opens April 4th.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this play about?
Well, mistaken identity, two sets of twins, the masters and their slaves, separated at birth, appear in a town that one of them lives in, and mayhem ensues.
Mayhem ensues.
Yes. And then the father is there to look for the, I believe it's the Antipholus, the masters. He gets sentenced to death. Then, of course, needless to say, everybody finds each other at the end. He does not die. The brothers are reunited. The father is reunited with his long-lost wife. Everybody's very, very happy.
All you gotta know, two sets of twins separated at birth, and everybody mistakes everybody for the wrong person. Shakespeare's most ridiculous play, his shortest play,
Yes,
his most slapstick play,
pretty much.
more in the Italian vein,
Mhm.
it's the Commedia dell'arte, as
Mhm.
opposed to being anything else. And it follows on the heels of The Boys from Syracuse.
And why?
And why? Because The Boys from Syracuse is,
The musical version of Comedy of Errors.
wow! And how did we decide to do that?
Well, we have been discussing this, Lou and myself, for quite some time.
Decades.
Well,
Decades.
close, yeah, an extra decade. But, and we wanted to do for the Shakespeare Festival, rather than just, flat out Shakespeare, its
Right.
musical counterpart. There are not that many.
The last time you were on, I think we said there were 5.
I think that's what we counted.
Yeah.
So Boys from Syracuse has, although in and of itself it's not that well known, it has some terrific music that when you come see it, and I know you will, you will recognize some of the music.
Sing for your supper and you'll get breakfast. Falling in love with love.
This can't be
love. Oh,
I
Diogenes.
don't know how many people know that one, but
Those
it's
are the big 4, right? I think probably Falling in Love with Love or This Can't Be Love
Are the
are
two.
two that everybody knows.
Mhm.
They're in the American Songbook and people perform them in lounge acts all the time.
They absolutely do.
So you're doing the straight on Shakespeare,
I
and
am.
I will have done the musical. By the time you see this show, the musical will have closed.
Well, why don't we tell them the really interesting concept about
Buy a ticket for each one.
that too.
Meaning there's more? Oh, all right, she has a more interesting concept than I do. I'm
This
business.
was my concept too, but
But anyway, yes, it was.
Just
So
in case.
if you buy a ticket for Boys from Syracuse, which normally would cost you $22 plus a processing fee, and Comedy of Errors, which would cost you $22 plus a processing fee, buy a ticket for both and you only pay $40. Hey, who can go wrong with that?
you can't.
So that's a great concept. So this follows on the heels of the other great concept of a musical of a Shakespearean play. But there's a third great concept. Obviously, I don't know what it is, but she does.
You do.
What is it?
Wait till you hear this.
I don't know what it is.
Same cast
Oh, that!
in both shows.
Same actors in both shows.
Playing the same roles.
Which is really not, we've never done, nobody does that.
Well, because
Who's
there's a
that?
whole heck of a lot of work for those amazing.
Yeah, so like for example, Dave Foster is playing Antipholus of Ephesus.
In both.
In both plays.
Mhm.
So he gets to be the Rodgers and Hart version for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and then he gets to be Shakespeare's version. And then
Mhm.
Fred Fishburne is the other Antipholus, the Antipholus of
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Same, he's in the same shows playing the same role.
Mhm.
That's an interesting idea.
Yes.
How did we decide to do that? Why did we decide?
Because we thought it would be an interesting idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think we just figured that, why not?
Yeah, why
This
not?
opportunity.
And
It's
they're
an interesting
both rather,
experiment.
they're both, as I said, it's the shortest Shakespeare.
They're both fairly short.
They're both short plays. I think that with an intermission, you're probably going to be here about 90 minutes.
Mhm.
I know for my show, it's incredibly short. We did Act 1 the other night at 40, and we did Act 2 at about 37.
It was pretty short. It
Very
was
short, that's a
yes.
short evening.
Boom like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, soon. And it's very vaudevillian, what we're doing.
It is.
A lot of Olsen and Johnson, Abbott and Costello,
Mhm,
Harold
Marx
Lloyd,
Brothers.
Marx Brothers. Oh, I forgot to put the Marx Brothers in my thank yous. Remember, I got to put the Marx Brothers in there.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm
Little
so
Three
sorry.
Stooges.
No, there's no Stooges. I put no Stooges. I don't like the Stooges.
Oh, no, they could be the
I'm
Willies.
sorry. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just did it's like me.
Oh,
They got
yeah.
poke you in the eyes.
Ow,
Oh,
I
hurt
know,
you.
it's
It's all
terrible.
about hurting people.
Frying pans and,
No, I don't like
yeah, no, it's very, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
But anyway, we
very tense.
decided first that we were going to do the musical version of a Shakespearean play. That's
Yes.
the first thing we said.
Mhm.
And obviously the one we said that worked the best was Comedy Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know who said it first, but I think sort of at the same time, we said, why don't we have the same people?
It was like crazy.
Yeah.
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 So we agreed that it would, if we found people who were amenable to doing both shows, and I think some at first were particularly, some had a little more experience with Shakespeare, some had more experience with musicals,
Right.
some had none with Shakespeare, and yet they have risen to this in the most impressive, miraculous ways.
Yeah, both scripts are very user-friendly. I mean,
They are.
it is the most ridiculous. If you've ever watched I Love Lucy, or you've ever seen a Marx Brothers film, or you've ever watched
Honeymooners,
or the
yeah.
Honeymooners,
Yeah.
or you know who's on first, Abbott and Costello's routine,
Mhm.
that's what these shows are. It's baggy pants, crossover, slapdash, mad vaudevillian humor. And it's not far off the mark of what Shakespeare intended. I mean, you know.
Oh, absolutely, with a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of people have turned him into Shakespeare.
God.
Yeah.
He's
So,
God.
yeah, don't mess with him.
No.
But we miss him.
Yeah, we fall down on the
Mhm.
Well, I think he would appreciate it.
I think so too.
Yeah, he was an actor and a manager and a director before he was a player. And,
Ah.
yeah, I mean, he only started the right place because it was.
There's nobody else was.
No, why pay royalties if you can write your own play? We do that here. I mean, you know, why pay $1 bazillion for somebody else to write a play if you can write a fairly decent play on your own and produce it and direct it?
And he turned out to be pretty darn good.
Actually, did he surprised his mother because she didn't think very much of him. She
Is
wanted
that
him,
true?
No, she wanted him to be a doctor.
That's like my mother.
To be a doctor. So anyway, Boys from Syracuse will have closed by the time this show airs, but
But they're part of the Shakespeare
it's
Festival.
part of the Shakespeare
so-
Festival. April 4th through 13th, 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 3 p.m. on Sunday is the Comedy of Errors, directed by Lisa, and you're in it for a very short time, or you're just an offstage voice. How
Well,
did you decide?
I'm an offstage voice. I may poke my head
You
out.
may put she's in Boys from Syracuse
I know.
quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. But yes, it's intended to be an offstage voice. There may be an opportunity to just kind of, hey,
Yeah, and following up on Boys from Syracuse and Comedy of Errors is the Rocky Horror Show. That's Castaway Players, and they're going to be here the 25th, 26th, and 27th of April, Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m., Sunday, 3 p.m. They always do well when they're here, and I think you ought to get your tickets way in advance for Rocky Horror Show, because they'll be sold out like a week before it opens, or 2 weeks before it opens. If you want to make a reservation, 845-876-3080, Tuesday through Saturday, between the hours of noon and 5 p.m. Always online, www.centerforperformingarts.org. But you're also doing something else
oh, I'm so busy.
in April.
What am I doing?
You're doing the Kids on Stage presentation
I am with Emily.
with Emily of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes.
So we've got like 4 Shakespeare, Cindy Cubic and Mill Road PTA opened with The Tempest.
Mhm.
The Saturday after the Boys from Syracuse opened.
Mhm.
And then the Comedy of Errors opens, and then you open. That Saturday, you open one show on Friday night,
For comedy.
comedy, and then the next morning, Saturday morning, you're opening A Midsummer Night's Dream. Did you know that? No, it only dawned on me now. And now the panic, the fear, coursing through her face. Did you see it? No, you're doing that. On the 5th
Yes,
as
well,
well.
and I'll show up.
Kids on stage. And show up, I hope so. Jeez. So A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Ah,
And what have you done to that? It's a little different?
oh, it's different.
Yeah?
We've made it quite a bit shorter.
Yeah.
It's mostly about the play within the play. So rather than, we've actually completely cut out an entire plot line.
Yeah.
There are usually two sets of lovers, and there just wasn't enough time, even as it is. It's fairly long, longer than what I normally do for my spring and fall kids on stage.
But what do
there's
most
less
people
time.
remember about this play? They remember Bottom,
They do,
and Puck, and Oberon, and Titania.
more or less, yeah.
More or less. They don't really, I bet you most people couldn't name the four lovers. Ah.
Demetrius, Lysander,
Helena.
Hermia.
That's a theater crowd, but they get the point. They win. It's get Hermia and Helena, Demetrius, Lysander.
Correct.
Right.
But not in our production.
Not in our, they don't exist. But you do have Theseus and Apollo.
Yes, we have
Theseus and Apollo, because they have to perform the play for somebody.
Right.
Yeah, Theseus and Apollo are getting married. To celebrate the marriage, Theseus says, I'm going to give the prize to the best working men's group to do a play. So Bottom, who's a weaver, Snug, who's a
Well,
joiner,
Quince directs it.
and Quince is the director. What does Quince do for a living? We were trying to figure that out the other day.
I don't know,
It's in the
migrant
script.
worker picking fruit?
He's a
I don't
migrant
know.
worker. Yes, he worked for Cesar Chavez way back, organizing California melon pickers.
So
This
maybe
was
start
in
snorting now.
1591, there was Peter Quince with Cesar Chavez.
So true.
It is true.
Mm.
But no, I don't know what he does. He does something.
No, I don't know
Yes, it's
either.
I
Yeah,
think he was a
it's
tailor.
Huh?
he's a tailor?
I thought he was a
Peter
tailor.
Quince is a tailor, I think.
I think so.
Anyway, these guys all have, because this is a joke on, it's not a joke, what it is a comment on how the theater became the professional theater by Shakespeare's time. I mean, he was, 1585, 1587, his works were being performed. Prior to that time, the morality plays and the mystery plays were being performed by working men, a bunch of printers or a bunch of cobblers or stonemasons.
Kind of like us.
I'm like, exactly. It's exactly like us. No,
Yeah.
that's the point.
Oh, yeah.
They started out as community theater.
Mhm.
They had a day job, but at night they did a play.
Mhm.
And they did compete for prizes. You know, the Duke or the Bishop or whomever ran the town. In fact, there's a whole, in the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame with Charles Laughton, there's a whole undercurrent of the printers and the stonemasons all preparing a play. You would think it's sidetracked because of Esmeralda. But it's like, a big deal. So that's what this is about.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so you want to order tickets for both, or one, or all. Call 845-876-3080, Tuesday through Saturday, between the hours of noon and 5 p.m.
It's a great opportunity with particularly doing Midsummer for, what do we charge, $9, $7?
To see the show?
To be
Yeah,
able to
$7 for
bring,
kids.
whether your kids are in it or not, this is an opportunity for them to see kids performing Shakespeare. So I think it's incredibly relevant even if your child is not actually in the production. Sometimes we get the families of and the friends of, but we don't tend to get as much fall and spring for the
Yeah.
public.
No, but it is a great way to see
It is.
Yeah, I mean, and kids doing Shakespeare is a great idea, and the Shakespeare Festival is a great idea. It's 1 month long. We perform on the Globe stage, our own replica of the Globe stage. We have wonderful costumes this year. A lot of San Camacho's have great costumes
Oh,
for
we
both
really
of us. I have music by Paul and Joanne Schubert. We have a set which was designed and built by Richard Krause and Andy Weintraub many years ago.
Mhm.
Lighting, Andy's doing the lighting
For both of
for
us.
both shows. It's a great opportunity. So once again, 845-876-3080. Comedy of Errors, April 4th through 13th, and Rocky Horror Show, April 25 through 27. And Kids on Stage production of The Midsummer Night's Dream, April 5, April 12. And please call and sign up for any of our camps. And you're teaching a camp this summer. You're doing the
This is Guys and Dolls,
Guys and Dolls
Junior
Junior.
is
Guys and Dolls Junior,
on
where they
this
don't
year.
gamble for money, they gamble for what?
Halls.
Heads and halls. Yes.
Yeah, no,
Right?
the gambling percent.
Who knows? Anyway, thanks. Thanks to Lisa. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
Kevin. Thanks to Michael Fraser, who will be on later in the show. And see you in a bit.
Take care.
And we're back. And as you know, this is the serious part of the show where we talk about things that are going on in the community. And I've used the phrase in the enlightened mutual self-interest, and maybe we'll get into that. But sitting with me right now is one of the most famous men in Rhinebeck. How do you do? This is Mr. Michael Fraser. Michael is the president of Rhinebeck Rotary, and of course he's done a million other things in town, but what I really brought you on to talk about is Rotary. And maybe you tell everybody what it is. A lot of people don't know what Rotary is.
Rotary is a service club. It's a group of individuals from local community who are committed to service, who do their job during the day, but take an hour or 2 hours out every week to get together and have lunch together, talk to each other, listen to a speaker, and raise funds and do service and use the funds that they raise to help those who are less fortunate than themselves and who are in need.
And both at home and overseas. I mean, this is an international program.
Primarily at home, but in the region and overseas as well.
There's a wonderful joke in Faulty Towers where he's all upset because coming to dinner tomorrow is the president of the local Rotary. And that's some Torquay on the coast of England. So it's all over the world. Rotary is all over the world.
Rotary is in every continent. There are some 60 clubs in the lower Hudson Valley in the 5 counties. We're kind of in the middle of that region, but thousands of clubs in the United States and Europe, Africa, Far East, South America. We're everywhere.
And when you say people in the community, so we have people who are bankers, who are lawyers, who are educators, they work in real estate, they're in arts management, they do everything. They're photographers by day, and then everybody gets together. Now the projects that you're doing, currently you're supporting the students from Rhinebeck High School who are part of the Interact Club.
One of our major sources of, the kinds of projects that we're involved in, service projects, are to support organizations that really are important to the community. The Interact Club is an organization of high school students that are a junior version of the Rotary Club. Those are students who are trying to learn about what it is to perform service for others.
And we had them on, I think, a couple months ago. Rowan Gideon was on, and they were going to Nicaragua as we were speaking, and they have returned from Nicaragua. And this is a wonderful project that you've done for 7 years now, or how many years are you into this?
It's been that number of years.
7
This
years.
year was the 7th,
Yeah.
and the students down there use funds that they've raised here. They don't use the funds to pay for their trip down there. That itself is reasonably expensive, and that's...
They pay for themselves to get
They
there.
pay for themselves to get there, but the funds they raise are to conduct the project in that community in Nicaragua where they've been going. They've, each of those 7 years, have used those funds to build a classroom each time they've gone down there in a rural area outside of León, Nicaragua. Most recently, they built an auditorium for a school in Pastillas, which is right outside on the edge of León, where they also live with some of the host families in that community.
And this is the only international project you're involved in.
That is the major, yes, that's it.
But members of the club, I know that Lou Turbin and David Ives just came back from, they were in Warsaw, I believe. It was
David is the director of the Albert Schweitzer Institute
Right.
as part of Quinnipiac University. He's a past president of our Rotary Club, and he takes college students to a variety of locations. And in this particular case, he and Lou Turpin went to Warsaw, where all of the recent Nobel Peace Prize winners
Right.
were meeting.
The
They meet
laureates, all
in
the
different
laureates.
countries once a year, and he took some of his Quinnipiac students with him to participate in that conference.
And what else in Rhinebeck? I mean, other than supporting the Interact Club, I know there are like 1,000 other things that...
We support Northern Dutchess Hospital, the Star Library. We have a senior home assistance program where we use funds to buy a variety of material supplies that may be needed to make repairs in homes of seniors who need that kind of help. We have
Didn't they just build a
supported literacy
bench?
volunteers.
Just built a bench in town somewhere? Or
We
restored a
repaired
bench?
the benches in front of the post office and across from, along Route 9 there.
How did you get involved? Is this something you
There were a couple
born
of,
into, or?
no, absolutely not. I've been a member of the club for about 5 years. A couple of the members of the club approached me as right around the time that I was retiring from my job as a school superintendent and said, we'd be interested in having you join the club. Are you interested?
And you've been president for how long?
This is I've been president for about a year and a half. Most of our presidents are there for a year. I was a little bit longer because our previous president wound up leaving Rhinebeck to take a position in Aspen, Colorado.
Debbie Green, who used to be on our board, helped us raise lots of money. So Debbie is off doing Aspen. She's heading the...
She's raising money for the hospital in Aspen, Colorado.
And she did that here in Rhinebeck.
It's a very successful job,
Yes.
and in fact, her replacement in that position has just, Dawn Morrison has just joined us
That's
as
right, she was
a fellow
elected
member of the Rotary.
past Monday.
Yes.
So what about you? So you were a high school superintendent or a school superintendent here in Rhinebeck?
It was actually in Rhine Cliff. We had a public school district there, Rhine Cliff Union Free School District, which served the residents of what was then known as Holy Cross Campus.
The only school in the district.
That was the only school in that district. It served neglected, dependent, delinquent teenagers. I did that as a teacher initially and then as superintendent until 1995, and then wound up going down to Westchester County and running a comparable district, the Abbott Union Free School District in Irvington for 10 years down there.
So can anybody be a member of Rotary? Is there some sort of, you have to pass a test?
There is no
test. Secret oath? Or-
Somehow I escaped that.
You did?
No, we're interested in individuals that are in leadership positions in the community who are committed to serving others. And anyone who's interested should contact a current Rotary member or myself to find out about the club. And we'd love to encourage those individuals to become part of our group.
And when you say serving others, it's not a noblesse oblige. I mean, it's not like, oh, let's take care of the poor
We're
people
talking
in town.
about hands-on.
Right, exactly. And it's also mutual. There are people in the club who have a particular interest. I know that Nick Staley is going to be on next month. He's going to talk about Ferncliff. I think that's his passion. And Bill Dowden was on last month, and he was talking about Shriners. So one of the great things about Rotary is having everybody sit in a room, and everybody's got a particular initiative, passion, a community project they work on, and we share, so it becomes mutual. So everybody's helping everybody else, which is the way it should be.
Community service is a very important aspect of Rotary. If you go back to the origins of Rotary, the person who was responsible for forming Rotary in the first place, a fellow by the name of Paul Harris in England, was a very successful businessman at a time when, not that this was extraordinary for a business climate, but when the business climate was very cutthroat and when ethics was not a top priority. And he was concerned that businesses needed to have a better reputation in the community, needed to have a sense of ethics and morals, and that there needed to be an opportunity for business leaders to get together and to talk about what they were doing and to do what they could to enhance the kind of climate that he thought was necessary. Not only was it important for the health of the communities, but in fact, as he saw it, and as his colleagues saw, that kind of climate where you see being decent to each other and being fair to your community help the business itself be more successful.
Well, that's what I say.
So that was the original
Yeah.
Rotary, and it's the same kind of individual who joins and stays.
And this is the only civic organization in the world, I believe, that has a permanent seat at the UN.
That's correct.
Yeah, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
Now, they're not a voting member. I mean, it's an organization that's not a nation, but it has a seat at the United Nations. Doesn't vote, but it has input.
There's recognition on the part of the United Nations that the kind of attitude that Rotary has towards doing right and helping individuals, groups of individuals, not only in one's own community or one's own country, but in other countries, that's the kind of attitude that's, more of it is required. In fact, one of the organizations that Rotary partners with is known as Shelter Box, and that's a group that raises funds to help individuals, large groups of individuals that are victims of disasters. For example, when the typhoon created havoc in the central Philippines, Shelter Box was one of the first organizations to be out there to provide tents, cooking utensils, reading material for young children.
In case you don't know what a shelter box is, it's literally a huge box. It's about maybe 4 cubic feet. And in that box there are medical supplies, food, tools, sleeping bags, blankets, emergency batteries, etc., etc., etc. So a box can be delivered to a family, let's say, of 4 or 5 people, and it can sustain them for the first couple of days or a week or 2 weeks of a disaster.
And
how many of those were delivered in the Philippines?
In the thousands.
Thousands.
I don't remember.
And these cost about
exactly.
$1,000 each.
They do cost $1,000 each. Our own club has donated 2 of those in the past year. And in fact, our Interact Club members have done the same. And both organizations have been designated as Shelter Box Heroes because they've made a commitment over the next few years to donate at least 1 box.
So if you want to be a member of Rotary, do people call you? What do they do? What happens?
They call me or they speak to an individual Rotary member.
Is there an official phone number or email you want to give out?
Probably the email is rhinebeck.rotary.org.
We'll flash that on the screen.
They
Right?
can get in touch with us that way, and I will be probably the one to respond to them. And they can get in touch with me. Actually, probably the best way is through my home phone, 845-876-7462. And I'm in the phone book.
Cool.
So look
Well,
forward to hearing.
Thank you so much. It's great work that you do, and it's an essential organization. New to me this year, but it's made an impact on everything I think about.
Well, we're especially delighted to have the Center for Performing Arts as one of our new
Newest members. All right, cool. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's it for this month. So don't forget, so what we got playing here. We have the Comedy of Errors, April 4th through the 13th. And we have the Rocky Horror Show, April 25 through 27. You call us, 845-876-3080, Tuesday through Saturday between the hours of noon and 5 p.m. to order tickets. Always online, www.centerforperformingarts.org. Thanks very much. See you next month.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.